Okay, so now we're going to enlarge this small photograph of a cat onto this larger graph that we've drawn. Okay, we've got some leftover here along the edge and the side. What we want is 4 squares down and 4 squares across. Now, you can make this easier for yourself. If you get confused by everything that's going on in here, you could do what's called a viewfinder, where I cut out a 1-inch square out of this piece of cardboard, just leftover cardboard, and you can just lay it over. I don't know if you can see that right here. Sorry. You can lay it over your photograph and just draw what's in each square. It helps you to just kind of analyze what you're seeing, the shapes, instead of getting overwhelmed by the whole thing. Another thing you could do to kind of block things off is use painter's tape or masking tape. So I can take this little square of it, and I can put it down and move it as I need to. Excuse me. And now I'm only looking at that one square. The reason you do graphing is so that you can enlarge and that you can see things accurately. Remember, this is how artists enlarge things, like to cover a mural on the side of a building, to do large-scale paintings. They don't start out doing something large. They have to start with a smaller piece first. Okay, so now if I am going to draw on my graph here, I'm just going to look at what I see in this topmost square. And I see part of an ear that comes out, and you might not even want to say the word ear to yourself because, you know, a cat's ear, you might see it in a certain way. Your mind will tell you what it looks like, but you have to look at what this cat's ear looks like. So I'm going to go in and start to draw what I see in this square. And the nose starts to come in a little bit. And we've got this eye that's here, comes to the very edge. Got a few little lines here, some darker marks. So I'm just going to put those kinds of things in. Now let's go down to the next square. Let's see if there's anything in that square. And some squares you won't have anything to draw. So the nice thing about painter's tape is it comes off very easily. Okay, so let's go here. And I'm just going to look at this part of the square. You might not have to mark off every last square because go like right here. And I just see like what looks like the bottom part of the mouth there. And then I see part of the neck, very little of it. And it looks like part of the chest. And you notice I'm not drawing heavy. Do not put a lot of pressure on your pencil. I don't want to see you come up to me and say, oh, let's throw this away. Look, can I start again? Because what you're doing is you're wasting supplies. You know, paper comes from trees. We don't want to waste it. And if you make sure you draw lightly, then you can go back in and fill it in heavier later. And if you do need to erase, it's not so much work. A lot of times I just draw over top of things. I don't bother with too much erasing. It takes a lot of time. Now I'm looking at what's in this square, and I'm looking how this comes down. And then of course this bottom square, this kind of comes around like this. And then I'm looking in this very bottom square, and it looks kind of like this. And it's okay if it's a little off, you know. Each time you work on something like this, you're going to get a little bit better with your drawing. Let's take those off. You can move them if you want, or if you feel confident that now you can just look at that square, you don't necessarily need to do that, to cover it with something, okay? There's all kinds of viewfinders that artists use. Sometimes they use something clear with lines that go across it, and I'm going to actually show you how to make those. So you do need to learn how to make your measuring marks and do that well before I can give you your plastic acetate to make your own viewfinder. Okay, look in here. That ear might be a little far over there. I might have to move it over. Let's see part of the marking of the eye here. A little bit darker around here. I'm just kind of indicating things. I'm not going too far in with what I'm seeing. I can go back and make corrections as I see them as I'm drawing. Like I noticed that that chin was out a little too far there. I think I heard one artist say drawing is nothing but a series of corrected mistakes, meaning that you look at things, you look again, you make corrections as you need to. And that's how you get good at drawing. It's not a skill that is unattainable. People can learn how to draw. It's not something that you have to just be born with. Okay. So sometimes people tell us things like, oh, I'm just not good at something. And you really shouldn't listen to that, because if you truly want to learn, you actually can do these things. So just give it a try. And I guarantee you over time, you'll see how much better you get at drawing. Okay, let's just do this little paw here. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but you can see how I'm kind of just looking at each square. I even keep my finger there so I don't lose my place when I look back and forth. And part of that paw comes down here into the other. So I've got pretty much of the cat going here. I hope you can see that pretty well. And I can go ahead and finish it up. Once you get it to the point where you feel it's pretty good, you can go in and start shading with your pencil. Start shading some of those areas in. And what I really want to see when you shade is that you can get your pencil dark, light, medium tones, and work with something to make it look more realistic. Okay, notice how I use the side of my pencil. That's better to do. If you use the point, it's going to get kind of scratchy looking. Artists use their pencils very differently. So a lot of times you'll see artists like this drawing and things. Sometimes I use my pencil like this when I'm just drawing a line. But if I'm trying to fill in an area, I use the side of my pencil. Good luck.